I want to know, because we talk a lot about, I mean, I get to see these guys all the time and hearing from their wealth of knowledge, but you get to coach with Tom now. So like,
Yeah.
what makes Tom such a great coach from your
So
perspective?
2 years ago, I coached with him, and like legitimately as part of the coaching staff, and um, not that I'm not legitimately this year, but honestly, like I first off the drills and the knowledge, like in the brain of him and how he approaches things, and um, the fact that he treats these girls as if they're, playing at the top level, even at U13. And obviously the drills are slightly different, but not much. Like I think first and foremost, the respect he has for the game, and that it, regardless if it's men's or women's, it's all the same. I think that's the first thing I noticed. Um, and I think, going back to hockey IQ, like a lot of times he does the drills. 2 years ago, he'd really write them out on the board for the kids so they could see it. But this year, he gives them the practice plan ahead of time, and he doesn't do a lot of stuff at the board. And it's about hockey IQ. Like, watch the drill. Here's the drill. Here's the points of the drill, and let's go. Um, but just the knowledge, and the stories. I think the stories are really fun. Some of them I hear, a few times in a row, but I still love them. I still soak them up, um and I'll say something like, I'm trying to get the girls to talk a little bit more, because they're so quiet on the ice. And I believe that if you talk more on the ice, you'll play like a second faster. And Tom would say, yeah, but then everyone knows where you are. Like the defensemen know where you are. Like he just makes you think, and as a coach, and he makes you think, I think, as a player, and he's demanding, like I think he would be from a, university men's team on these U15 players, and not in a bad way. I don't mean over demanding, but just the expectations are the same, like about performance. And um, the way he kind of simplifies the game too at the same time. Like a big thing for our group is D to D and making simple plays, and but the demand part of that, and just not letting go of, um not letting them off the hook for anything, and playing as a team. A lot of this age group. How old's your daughter, Sammy?
8.
Yeah, so this this group right up until about now, from your daughter's age till right up about now, the really good players can continue to just go through the team. And,
Mm-hmm.
but eventually next year, U18, they won't be able to do that. And so he coaches like a team game. And he did that 2 years ago at U13. And he doesn't let, it's not that he doesn't want players to go end to end, because if they go, they go. But like he really demands a team game that I think long term will be better for these players. Um,
We talked a little bit about that before you got on, that Wally said he noticed like there could have been times where it could have been dumb to chase. There could have been times where he could have regrouped. But I said maybe because Tom is so emphasis on passing, that he's making better players in the long run. He's playing the long game to
yeah.
make sure that they're good with the puck and they get touches now. So you might be losing on maybe that shot first mentality. You might be losing on other aspects of the game, but that what he's teaching. And do you notice like that your girls are so much better passers because of his mentality?
Yeah, for sure. And when we get away from it, we're not as good. And when our individual stars just play individual, we're not as good. Um, but at the same time, he still wants girls to make plays. Like I think of Ash, Tom, like she's so good and she can drive wide and finish. And I don't think he's taking the individual skill out of their game. He's just asking them to play a more complete game at an early age, which I think if you can learn that at an early age, you're going to be better for it in the long term. Um, and I know for my kid, like, again, my kid's, sort of in that lower echelon of, if you were going to rank everybody, um, but she's a good teammate, and he sees the potential in her. And to be honest with you, Tom, she's maybe one of the ones that has a lot of hockey IQ. She just doesn't necessarily have like she knows where to be and she knows how to support. It's just that skill set. And we've never put her in extra stuff until she didn't make fire last year. And then she was like, Mom, I gotta do power skating. I gotta do dry line. And we're like, hey, bud, we'll put you in whatever you want, but you need to initiate it with us. And now it's, you can slowly see the progression. But he sees the potential in kids too. So that's been really beneficial for us. And, my plan this year wasn't to coach. I knew that going in, and it was sad. I'm not gonna lie. I miss being on the bench, but then when it came about where our girls are, in university classes and stuff, and he needed help, sometimes it's just me and Tom. So I love being on the ice with the kids, and yeah, but learning from him, Sammy, honest to God, like I want to coach now. Like I want to be a coach. It's given me that bug, and just the intricacies of how he thinks the game, and
this has just been a Tom
neat.
appreciation seminar.
Yeah, go Tom.
Tom, your head, like, watch out. You're not gonna be able to go through doors now. I
But
mean,
he
we've
lets
known
me
this for
say-
so long, but it's nice to get somebody that like actually
Yeah,
coaches with him.
He
Yeah.
lets me say things though, like, like not that I challenge him by any means, but I'll think differently on something, and he listens to those things. He's not just like, oh no, this is the way we're going to do it. Duh, duh, duh. I think, and with all due respect, a man of his generation could easily be that way. And I find that he's just extremely open still and encouraging. Like you watch Emily and Mila, who are his assistant coaches, who at some point he's coached, and the respect that they have for him. Like here's two young women, 23-ish years old, basically giving up their life to coach this team and to coach with Tom. And that's the truth. They just want to soak it all in. And I think that just shows the respect in him, where they could be out and having a good time with their friends and doing different things, and they want to give back to the game. And yeah, it's pretty remarkable, actually.
Cool. Love it.
Kathy, I got a question. I'm always been curious about Tom coaching with his son and the dynamics of that. Can you comment on that?
Okay. Well, first of all, I think that's another thing too. The respect that Jim has for his dad, first and foremost. He's a busy guy, a lawyer, has two jobs right now, trying to balance this. Plus, he's getting married and having a social life. And the respect and love and admiration is evident. It's completely evident. He wants to coach with his father, and there's no question about it. But I have seen, Tom would like the wingers to be higher in our zone and be right on the D. And so when they get the pass, they can, whereas Jim wants the forwards to be lower in the zone. And so I've seen them debate that. And I'll be honest with you, and I don't know if Tom knows this, sometimes I'm like the venting sponge. I don't know if that's the right word, but the person that people vent to. And, they have different philosophies on some things. And the dynamic of how they deal with it is good, because they don't deal with it on the ice in front of the kids there. It's always, in the dress coach's room or at home, I'm sure, or when they go out for a beer. But they do have different philosophies, and even line combinations. And but Jim watches the games when he can't be there. He watches the games at home on Flow Hockey, and he's giving feedback before the game on the opposition. And Tom respects that and knows that it's bang on. Like we had a game the other day where if we kept F3 high, we were going to create a lot of turnovers and offense, and that's exactly what happened. And we ended up winning 7-0. We found our forwards F3 in the quiet areas, and they got a ton of chances and a few goals off that. And that was all from feedback that Jim had given Tom prior to the game, watching the opposition. So it's a pretty, obviously a special relationship as father and son, but I think the lifelong memories that they've created and the bond that they've created through coaching together, it's been pretty fun to watch. And even when they don't agree, it's still it's a special relationship, and you can see that from the outside looking in.
Well, Tom, I'm not sure who to talk to when I have things to share and wonder about what you're doing and why you're doing it. And I I had a talk with Jim on the way out of practice the last day, and I asked him the question when you and Cassie, they did that one pass rule in every zone, and it was a 5-on-5 scrimmage. And I love that one pass rule to the point where it helps them think pass. But in that scrimmage, they turned the puck over at the far blue line trying to make the pass, and they had such speed, I thought they could have dumped it. So, we've had that conversation this morning. I had the conversation with Jim, and, he made sense. He says, at this age, we still want them to complete passes. And
Yeah.
I think they've reached a point like when you do that drill at that time and turn the puck over, if you really want to complete the pass, you have to regroup. And it's a different dynamic. You might have to insist on the one pass to be a regroup versus a forced pass that's a turnover. But
well, I think there, Wally, if they get between the dots with the puck, they have options.
Yeah.
It's when they're skating along the boards.
Yeah.
They don't have very many options, and
I like the chips into space rather than a dump in. I mean, there's sometimes in a game you got to manage it, and you're up 1-0 with 2 minutes to go, and you can't turn it over. Obviously, you can't necessarily go back. I don't want to say safe, but just the smarter play. But I'd love to see our team, and I know this is an evolution of his practice plans, and I know we're going to see it, is a few more chip plays, chip in behind the D, not necessarily a dump in where you have someone coming with speed. And
how are the goalies at playing the puck in your league? Like if you dump it, is the goalie setting up the breakout or no?
I think I referred to the dump as a far corner pass. Goalie can't touch it. It's a different, because they have so much speed. I agree with you, Cassie. Chipping's the first possession option. But they've built so much speed on direct attack through the neutral zone that smart dump, not just shoot it in and forecheck, it's a dump for possession. Theoretically, it's a tactical way of maintaining possession to take advantage of all the speed you've built up. But you're right, chipping for possession. But Tom's point, carry the puck to the middle of the ice in the neutral zone. That makes sense. Pass options are going to be got two of them.
Well, I mean, if the goalies are not good at playing it, a hard dump is also really good because like that messes up the goalie too. I mean, then you're getting the goalie to come out of the net. So it just kind of depends on what level the goalies are at. Like, would you guys have any knowledge?
Well, they vary, right? But it's not a big strength of the goalies.
Okay.
That they can set the puck up properly and all that,
They really work on it though now, I find, and they want to be really good, like
yeah,
they're starting
I guess
to
you don't know
understand.
you don't know what you're getting yourself into prior to the game.
Not on most teams. Like we play the northern teams once, so we've never seen well, we can watch on Flow Hockey, but
is Flow Hockey like live barn? Like that's what just happens at the rink? Is that what that is? Okay.
Each team is responsible to set it up.
You can watch it after.
Oh,
yeah.
And you can even break
you're
it
actually
down.
filming it.
Mm-hmm. Each team has it's a volunteer position, and it's like it's really good.